Hello, dear traveler. It has been a while since we.
Hi. What's going on, everybody? Happy Halloween, first of all. It's been a hot minute since I made a new video. I was going to post it yesterday, but it seems that escaped me. But here we are. Second video in the character creation topic that we're going to be talking about. And today we're going to be talking about the Lyrda of the Tides of the Cosmos universe. Remember that if you enjoy seeing my content, please leave a like, please leave a comment on what you'd like to see in this TTRPG, and also remember to subscribe so you can see more of this content in the future. So in advance, I want to apologize. Allergies are going insane right now where I live. Lots of pollen and things being kicked up by the... Oh, my phone just went off. Things being kicked off by moss being kicked up. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, just had to put my phone on silent. But anyways, we're gonna get into it. So, as we talked about last time, you can pick multiple different peoples and races in the Tides of the Cosmos series. And we first went over humans, who are one of the most racially diverse peoples. Not the most racially diverse. Well, they might be in this, but not in the real world of this real world. But anyways, we went over the humans. They had their own benefits, their own downfalls as we went through the Falaki, the Aristok, the Arcassians, the Yawar, the Hadhalim. We went through these Morians, and now we're here at the Lyrda. So the Lyrda are smaller than man, are typically much hairier. And much hairier. The Lyrda are people of the country of Ironhand under the rule of King Gamron. They have grown hardy and resilient due to their lives underground, and have developed a cultural appreciation for hard work and self-preservation. Though their race is delved in magic, their bodies and culture are more suited towards physical feats. So, they are blessed by the god of labor, so they were given bodies that were very suited towards physical activity and being warriors and things like that. But as you can see, there are a lot of different races for the Lyrda, and they're all special in their own ways. They have their own cultures, their own ethnicities, and their own nationalities, depending on where they live. So let's get into it. So the first race of the Lyrda are the Caligir. These are Lyrda who live in the Sursan Isles in the southern parts of the Frostlands. Typically, they live in constructs made of arcane ice that last for thousands of years. They mostly live in nomadic tribes, but when they settle, they develop close bonds with one another and swear oaths to protect their people at all costs. They are close allies with the Sursan Denadin. Mainly, Caligir have paler skin complexions with freckles and have blonde, brown, or white hair. So the Caligir are basically, they are very suited towards the Sursan Isles, which are a very cold and wasteland-like place. It's just below the Frostlands, which are at the very north end of Tour. They get a +3 to Vitality. That's really good if you're trying to build something that has a build that wants to have a lot of health. And their specialty is Caligir Stoicism, +5 resistance against freeze status effect. That's pretty great, especially if you're playing in a campaign that's in the Frostlands or the Sursan Isles or somewhere else that's cold, like somewhere in, I think it's Elysius, or some places in Arcasia are very cold. So that's pretty good. The freeze status effect basically means that your movement and your actions are frozen, but you can do spells, right? So anyways, that's the Caligir. Then we have the Shillian. These Lyrda are mysterious and unknown to the common scholar. Like their brethren of the mainland, they tend to keep to themselves, hidden away from the other problems of the world. These Lyrda mainly dwell in gem-filled caves below the earth, where they can harness the arcane energy emanating off of them for in-depth research on the world. They are very weary to outsiders coming in, as their research is private and only for the Shillian to know and keep, though they might sell you a powerful spell scroll for a few gold. Shillians have very pale skin with black, purple hair, and assortment of eye colors. So the Shillians live in Arcasia. I don't know if that was... No, definitely wasn't mentioned. And they they thrive off of the magics that are emanating from these gems. The land of Arcasia was separated during the Dranaic War, which is where the dragons who represented certain parts of both the elements and of like the gods, and they were basically put on tour so that they could protect, or not protect, but oversee the Fairish and make sure they don't go full fascist authoritarian like they did in the previous iteration of Tor, which was destroyed during the War of the Cosmos. Excuse me. But yeah, so those are the Shillians. The Shillian bonus is +2 to Wisdom, +2 Charisma. Very good. If you want to build something like a Sharp Tongue, which is basically a bard, or you could build something like a really charismatic Spellweaver. Those are really cool things that you can delve into. Their specialties, or their specialty is the knowledge of magics and merchants. +2 to Arcane Knowledge, +2 to Mercantile. That's really good. It may not have something that's very like ground to the earth, I guess you could say, as like the freeze, resistant to the freeze status effects, or as we'll get to later, you'll have resistance to like frost damage and things like that. But it is very good, especially if you want to go into your talents and want to build something very diverse and very useful. Next we have the Doganta, Lyrda, who dwell mainly in the Scotian woodlands. The Doganta traveled alongside the Yawar and learned from them in the Colossi when the early Yawar met them. I don't know why that's like that. As I've stated previously, there will be spelling errors. Once the early Doganta entered the Scotian woodlands, they left their Yawar friends to their own lands and chose to settle in North Evenus, which is towards the north of the Scotian woodlands. They are very spiritual people who worship Baloran, Voom, and Lyrna, Baloran being the god of the oceans and the tides, Voom being the god of the elements, and Lyrna being the goddess of life as their main gods. Their culture mainly focuses on assisting their own people and very rarely leave their own village or city. Familial ties are also very close, and many Doganta live together in massive houses that hold all family members in one abode. Most Doganta live in massive forest cities assisted by shamanic magic to escape their beastly enemies who like to dwell on the forest floor, with their main city being Galandis, a hub for trade, labor, and lumbering in North Evenus. The Doganta Lyrda are ruled by the Doganti, a very elderly ruler who are usually shamans or esteemed diplomats. The Doganta have tan skin, black or brown hair, and blue or gray eyes. Many Doganta have dreadlocks and tattoos on their bodies that tell of their adventures, experiences, or hardships. So dreadlocks are more of a visual thing. They don't, dreadlocks obviously come from different parts of the world on Earth, but it's more of a style that represents more of like, if you want a good image of like the Celtic people, the early Gaels, and their hair, like their hairstyle. So the Doganta bonus is +2 to Charisma, +1 to Vitality. Very good for Charisma builds and gives you a nice little bonus to Vitality. The Doganta specialty, Familia Bond. Every 5 levels add +1 accuracy to an ally of your choice. That's pretty great. So that means, excuse my chair squeaking, but that means that you can, if you really like somebody, then you can have a +4 permanent accuracy buff on them. And that's amazing. This is a very selfless class, or race, it seems like, in the Lyrda, but it has a very, very, very potent specialty, which I thoroughly enjoy. So that's really good if you're playing with a marksman of some kind, or excuse me, a wanderer of some kind, or a shadow lurker of some kind who uses ranged weapons, or just really a berserker who just wants to have an accuracy bonus. It's a great thing, really. And I kind of, when I developed the specialty, I wanted it to tie in with the lore to where they have these familial bonds between the Doganta. Excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are going crazy. I kind of wanted that to tie in a bit. And I think I think it tied in really well, and I think it's very effective. The next one we have are the Stone Shard. These are your stereotypical, in quotations, dwarves, right? The most popular race of dwarves who mainly dwell in Ironhand and are the main descendants of the first Lyrda of Tor. After the Lyrda were freed from the Sindarthan Empire, many Lyrda migrated to the mountainous region due to their leader, Algarn Ironhand, wanting to establish a powerful economy to rival Sindartha's. After dozens of years of wandering, they came upon a cave full of gems and bright stones with strong ores and coals, thus beginning the newly established settlement of Ironhand with strong minerals to begin with. After hundreds of years, Ironhand became an economic powerhouse with a seemingly endless amount of minerals and capital. The New Sindarthan period. The New Sindarthan Empire stood no chance once they tried to invade, and thus led Ironhand to expand its landmass across the land. It is ingrained in stone shards to work incredibly hard and make massive amounts of wealth in whatever trade you choose. Many choose to be miners, traders, and sailors, but some have become very famous writers, orators, and diplomats. They have one of the most praised armies in the world, known as the Hammers of Ironhand. Stone Shard Lyrda usually have tan, dark, or pale skin, with black, brown, or red hair. They have pointed ears, bushy brows, stout bodies, and diverse hairstyles. Stone Shard bonus, +2 to Charisma or Vitality. Very good if you want to build someone who's very high in Charisma or Vitality. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, because some dwarves, or Lyrda, excuse me, some Lyrda are, like I said, esteemed diplomats, famous writers, people who have a lot of speech prowess, and then some love to work in the mines and fund their families for generations. And that's what I wanted to embody with that bonus. And the specialty is Stone Shard Spirit. Add +2 to any strength, charisma, or vitality stat. So that means talent. I didn't mean to put stat. It is talent. It's really great if you want a really diverse build. In any of those three things. I don't know. It's just very cool. Being able to design these things and having you be able to build these diverse characters. So anyways, the last one is the Dustborn. The Dustborn are mainly dwellers of Enya Key. After the revolution that freed the Tyrian races, some Lyrda went east to search for their fortune. Their leader, Burgardi Dustborn, led a group of Lyrda who encountered the Enyadak, who at first was hostile to their group, letting them only reside in the most harsh parts of the desert. Say that 10 times. Until the Sindarthan Empire tried to claim their property, in quotations, from Enya Key and slaughtered some Enyadak in the process. This led to the expulsion of the Sindarthan forces in the area, and the Enyadak and the now acclaimed Dustborn peoples became a true reality. The Enyadak trade with one another, with each other, with precious jewels. The Enyadak and the Dustborn. The Lyrda tree really seems to have a lot of problems. I'll have to go back and see that. But again, I think that there's a certain mystique when looking at this stuff. Knowing the processes that we're going through. Like I said, this is like pre-alpha. So we're just throwing some ideas basically at this point. Enyadak and the Dustborn trade with each other often, with precious jewels found in caves across Enya Key in exchange for animals and raw materials coming from the Enyadak. They also trade in great cities of Hadhalem, to acquire other things to trade in surrounding areas. The Dustborn have a keen reliance on diplomacy and speechcraft, with the College of Speechcraft, the Grelamore School of Speechcraft, being contained in the city of Grelamore. A place of large sand and mud buildings that contains most of the Dustborn's cultures. Many adore this the wondrous food, the bright colored clothing, and the many holidays of their culture that their culture has to offer. Many Dustborn have tan or pale skin, black, brown, or blonde hair, and brown, blue, or orange eyes. So yeah, Dustborn basically immigrated from the Sindarthan Empire, which was mostly in the north of the mainlands, and migrated all the way to Enya Key, which is on the southeast part of the mainlands in that giant square. So this the Dustborn bonus is +3 to Charisma, as it says. Really good for Charisma build. And the Dustborn specialty is Flame-Filled Spirit, resistant to all fire magic damage. Very, very, very good if you're in a setting that, you know, you'll need some resistant to fire damage. Good lord, my everything's creaking. It's like quarantine is bringing out like the old and everything. So what's we got? We got 14 minutes. Okay, so that's where we'll stop today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know there was a lot of errors. I guess that's some of the things you can look for in these videos is some spelling errors. But then again, it's part of the creative process. It's in its pre alpha stage. I'm hopefully going to have this done by next year. But then again, all of the systems and things like that are pretty solidified. It's just going back and editing. I'm really bad at writing really fast and then not editing it immediately after. So then we'll have all of these little spelling errors that will most likely arise. But anyways, thank you for watching. So that was the Lyrda. If you enjoyed the Lyrda or want to play as Lyrda, leave it in the comments. You can also follow me on my social medias on Instagram at e.h.reynolds, or you can go to the Loris Atlas as well on Instagram to see some of my old poetry and things like that. That's a whole nother thing. We'll get to that in another video. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Please stay safe during quarantine. I know it's a really rough time for a lot of students like me. Just remember that things will get better and you will come out of this on top. You just got to keep the faith. Keep the faith. All right, all. I'll see you later.